So let's start by looking back at Friday night. I guess you see things differently in hindsight, but how did you feel about that one in the end?
It's probably typical how we're going to win games. I don't think we're, early on we're going to win real pretty, I suppose, especially, night games this time of year. The conditions aren't real conducive for playing rugby. But yeah, happy with the win, happy with the effort, and a bit like after the first game in Catalans, just it's good to have focus points to work on, so it's given us something to look, to improve going into next week's game.
What mattered more then, the result or the performance on Friday night?
I think when there's points up for grabs, it's the result. You got a week to deal with the performance. Hopefully the performance is good, but at the end of the day, it's a 2 points up for grabs every week, and they're hard to win. There's some really standout teams at the moment who are winning, reasonably easy at the end of the day, and then there's the rest of us trying to catch them. So it's 2 points at the end of every game. Yeah, it's critical.
You must be pleased with the way that the players hung on though and just kept battling and grinding that one out in the end. Yeah,
we're only 3 games in, but just really happy with their grit, their determination. And yeah, how the young wingers and Logan played on the weekend. They're young boys and they're not used to winning. So games like that, I think I said it afterwards. There is a bit of a skill in getting the job done there. Not being scared to lose and attacking the game. And I thought they did that. And just to see the looks on their faces at the end of it, it was really gratifying.
It must be as well, I guess, another example perhaps of finding things out about your players that you would only see in situations like that.
Yeah, all the scenarios you train at training, they're not, at the end of the day, they're not real. It's all about getting better, and you try and trainers replicate games at training, but it's just not always possible, especially now we're into the season. So yeah, to be 10-4 down and score the try and then march our way upfield and kick the field goal with no fuss, that was a real pleasing thing for us.
Short turnaround this week between matches. How does that affect the build-up for you?
Yeah, you pretty much get a day less to get yourself ready. We had our main day was today, but and we're a day closer to the game. So day after tomorrow, we'll come in and just have a light run on Wednesday, then into the game on Thursday. But that's what your off season's all about. It's you cater, you get ready for your season during the off season, and you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 day turnaround. So that's what your pre-season's all about, is to get the hard work done then, and then you don't have to work so hard through the season. So
sacrifice might not be the right word, but what is it that you do sacrifice in a build-up to a game when you've got one day less?
Just less time on the field. So, it was a lightish day today. It's still early in the season, still getting used to the bumps and the bruises, and we picked up a few. So it's just one day less on the field, but hopefully that's all in the bank.
Bumps and bruises. Go on, run us through them.
We won't sort of name a side till tomorrow. Out of the side, Deneve has got a hammy problem. Ed Chamberlain got the head problem. Jordan has got a bit of a bump on his knee. Just nothing that's going to keep them out from playing, I wouldn't imagine. Just the general run of the mill after a game. But yeah, having that one day less, that's another thing you've got to sort of consider. But we've got a long turnaround into the following week.
As we sit here now, I don't know if you're in a position, if you've heard anything at all, the disciplinary committee sitting on a Monday. John Asiata sin-binned at the weekend. Has anything come from that?
No, we're all clear. We've got no charges to face there, so that was a real bonus for us.
And any players due back this week at all?
Jed will be really close. I think he's probably the only one at this stage. We've got the new guys that have come in Liam Knight, Sam and Liam Watts, who's come in today. So we're going to have more to pick from. But we're just, it's very tough only having the one session. So those boys will only get the one session with a whole new teammate. So it's just how we handle that situation. Plus we're coming off a win, and you don't like to make too many changes off a win.
What difference did that win make to your players, certainly mindset-wise?
Yeah, just every win is really important at the moment for from where they've come from. It's everything, winning and losing are habits. So coming into the season, tight games was, I suppose, a bit of a concern going into the season because a lot of the games are tight. So like we've gone out and we've done a good job in Catalans. The game was sort of close-ish in different parts. Wigan just too good for us. So sometimes you just got to copy medicine and say it as it is. And they were just way too good for us. And I think they franked that form with their game against Warrington. They were sort of another level again in that game. So they're the ones everyone's going to be chasing. And it's just a tough place to go and play at Huddersfield and get a result. And the game didn't let us down. It was exactly as we expected. Toughed it out. You don't know. You can't put a price or a figure on winning any sort of game. But to win it close and get the confidence out of that going into a home game this week. It's exciting times. Hopefully another big home crowd. I think everyone very happy with where the team's situated at the moment. But I suppose the best thing for me is that the players still see there's so much improvement, and that's a good thing for the coaches.
As far as selection goes, how much of a headache have you got at the moment? Thinking about obviously new players coming in, Logan Moy impressing you last week at full-back, putting Rapana into the centres. How much of a thought process are you going through at the moment?
Yeah, just still trying to work out what where our best 17 is. I suppose it'll constantly change. You'd think you've hit on a combination and then you get an injury or suspensions, head knocks. There's so many things that can come into play now. So it's a constant search. The middle's coming in. They've got to learn new calls, new plays, new teammates. So which way do you go there? How many do you put in to start with? Do you just bring them in slowly? So it's something that it's a good problem to have though. I'd rather have that problem than sort of scratching, trying to move players, play them in different positions, different sides of the field. So. Good problem, but we've just got to weigh up what's going to be best for the team and how we sort of bring him into the team.
Let's start with Liam Knight then. How close is he potentially to making that debut on Friday?
Yeah, he'll be
Thursday.
Yeah, he's been here the longest, so he'll be he'd be the obvious one that would come in, and then we've got no injuries in the middle of the field, so you've got to find a place for him. So he's you got to weigh up team dynamic as well. We've had a good tough win away from home, but look, at the end of the day, he's a class player. He's played nearly 100 NRL games, and he's at the right age. He's a very fit fella, so he'd be the first one cab off the rank, I would say. Sam's only come in late last week, and Liam's only in today, so we'll need to get them a couple of weeks training, and then. Depending on injuries and form, we'll go from there.
How much difference will Liam Knight make from the areas that you want to improve? Immediately, will you see a change, do you think, in certain areas, having him in your side?
Oh, look, he might need a few games. He hasn't, he didn't have a pre-season back home. He trained himself. So he might need a few games before we actually see the best in him. Look, he's a big body. I think the Wigan game probably showed us that we're a little bit light in size in the middle of the field. So we've hopefully we've gone out and remedied that as best we possibly can. We've brought in 3 really big boys and mobile, experienced in 2 of them, and a tearaway in Sam. So it's just we're going to need them all at some stage through the year. It's as I say, it's just a matter of how we filter them in.
And tell us about Liam Watts. We know about Liam Watts, but what's attracted you to him?
Depth to our squad and size. So we are, as I say, we compared with some of the sides in the middle, we're just not matching them for size, and that's not everything, But it's there's an old saying, a good big one, but a good little one every day of the week. So it was an area that we sort of, even before the Wigan game, we've been searching, and they just all happened at one moment.
There was some concern at Castleford about maybe managing him being in a full-time environment, and there was talk about him going into the part-time game. Is that in your mind as well? Will you have to manage Liam Watts in that sense?
No, I think, I'm not sure what happened. I've spoke to him a little bit about what happened at Cass, and at the end of the day, he just sort of needed a change. he is in at the twilight of his career, and that's a good thing for us because he certainly wants to finish, whether that's this year or he gets another year. Form will dictate that, but he wants to finish on a good note. He's had a very good career and he wants to go out on a good note. So that's a good reason for us to get him in.
So this week, too soon for him, you've already mentioned, but Leigh, they're in great form. What are you expecting to come up against?
They're a very skillful side. Lachlan Lamb leads them around the park very well. Their hooker's probably one of the better players in the competition. He's can play 13, plays hooker, and then they bring the other guy off the bench who's very sharp and very fast, and they put you under pressure through the middle of the field. They've got a lot of skill out wide, a lot of speed, and they've won 3 out of 3. So they're no mugs. They're going to be hard to beat.
Where do you beat them? Is it out wide? Is it down the middle?
Getting our game right. We're still searching for for us to be. I suppose get our speed players into space. It's been spasmodic, but just consistently get the ball to our strike weapons in space, and that'll be a constant search, I suppose, coming down as the games unfold. But just can't lose that the grit that we've showed over the first 3 games, and that'll give us a basis to sort of make our game go forward.
And how useful has your ex-Leigh contingent been this week in the build-up?
Yeah, well, today was the only day we've had training, so we had a little bit of a session on them this morning. They don't look like they've changed too much how they play. There's the odd thing here and there. It'll be about stopping their individuals. I think it's all right knowing what's coming. It's been able to stop their individuals. I think they've recruited really well. Like Tessie New has added something to them. Ethan O'Neill's added something to him. Armstrong, the fullback, has added something to him. So they've recruited really well on the back of a couple of good seasons. So they're sort of a side on the up.
Have you tapped into John Osiata's knowledge to start with?
Like I said, we know what's sort of coming at us. It's just the ability to be able to stop it. That's the key for us.
And if you could manage that win in front of the home fans this week, how much would that mean to you all?
Yeah, it would be a big moment for the whole squad and the staff. It's been a while since a home win. It's been a while since 2 in a row. So they're all things that be great for us to be able to achieve. But it's not going to be easy.
Hey John, just going back into John Osiata. Obviously, it's a big game on Thursday. To set things right from last time you were at home. How important is John to your team? Because we're starting to see a few glimpses of that with how many times he touches the ball, his attacking influence, especially in that last 20 last week. He was instrumental for you. Yeah,
the more they play with each other, the more the team sort of works each other out. It's bringing so many new players in, especially the key players in the hookers and the halves, Johnny and fullback. It takes time for them to gel and form partnerships. Johnny's very good at what he does, and you're right. His influence is starting to show on the team. He's certainly going to help Aiden and Kate out. As long as we can keep them on the field together. So it's just another step forward this week. The more games we play, the more he's getting his hands on the ball, and the more the guys around him know when he's going to do that. So it's just a building process.
How important is that middle link, that ball play middle link for your side? Does it add another dimension to your attack, and how does it affect Aiden and Kate's games as well?
Yeah, well, he's a cool head, so that's a major thing. When the game gets very hectic, he's a very cool head. He sticks to plan. It just takes pressure off Aiden and Kate, and helps them get set for their kicking game, which is so important. And they don't, if you've got voices right across the field, it just takes a lot of pressure off all the general guys that do that, sort of get you around the park in your halves. Johnny's helping out there. It's just a good link to have.
Another middle that had a really strong performance last week was Herman SCS. I believe got the Sky Man of the match. How have you rated his start to the season, and in particular the support he's going to get now with 3 new players coming in? Yeah,
he was tremendous for us. It's good. It's a hard balance to get with Herman, how long he plays, and because he can play big minutes for a big fella. But we want to maintain that impact that he had. I thought his game the other night, he had more impact in him than he's had in the first couple of games, and I've been really happy with him for the first couple of games. So I thought he changed the momentum of the game when he come on, which is what you want when guys come off a bench. Very durable, never misses training. He's a real pro, and he's hopefully his game keeps heading in that direction too, because I thought he was really strong the other night.
So he had a superb first season at the club. He won a lot of awards, and speaking to him in the off season, he said he wants to go to the next level, which is kind of scary really. Do you think he can do that this year?
Yeah, as the team progresses, he'll be a big part of that. He's got a lot of go forward. He pulls a lot of defenders to the tackle. He plays the ball quick. He's got an offload. He can do it all. So it's just it's all about if individuals are performing like that right across the park, it just bodes well for the team.
You touched a little bit on Vegas last week. Obviously, Richie Mowers spoke about it at the start of the year as well. I mean, are Hull going to be throwing their name in the hat anytime soon to feature? Because it's a 5-year contract, isn't it? 2 years in.
Yeah, that's something for the owners. Like as coaches and a squad would be, you want to play in those games. You just they make you better playing in front of bigger crowds and the pressure of the game. That's another level, another area where the players, that's where they improve. When pressure's on and in those pressure situations. So we'd be more than happy for it. I'm pretty sure Andrew, David and Richie would be talking about it. It's a great opportunity to put the club on the world stage. A lot of factors will come into it, no doubt, but I think, from our perspective, it'd be wonderful if they could make it happen.
One of Richie's comments was to get Hull's house in order here first, maybe before the club actually ventured over there. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Would it be something maybe too soon for next year or maybe the year after?
Oh, that's admin stuff. Just as a playing group, we'd love to do it, but it's got to be when it's the right time for the club. So if whenever they tell us it's to push the button, we'd be happy for it.
What do you make of the event this year? Obviously, 2 NRL games. Wigan were phenomenal on the big stage. So what were your overall impressions of Vegas this year?
Yeah, I just think it's fantastic for our code. The clubs that go over there, how they benefit, I'm not real sure. That's an admin thing, but as a fan to be watching, and I know as a fan being a staff member being over there last year, just to witness the excitement that it brings, and it's not only Australian and English over there. There's Americans that are coming in for the game as well. So I just think it's a great thing for the code. It's hard. We're pushing hard. It's hard to compete with all the other sports, especially over here, and to be able to do that, which no other sport does, I think it's something we're to grab a hold of and really push hard on.
Obviously, when you went there, it was part of Brisbane last year. What was it like? Can you put into words what that stadium's like when you see it? Because from the TV, it looks incredible.
Yeah, everything is another level. Like it's typical America. Everything's bigger and louder, and not only the game, it's the build up to the game. They had the parade in the street. I read about that. We were there last year. It's just everyone is in just such a great mood, and it's a great atmosphere. It's a good advert for our fans. They all the different clubs mixed together and in good jest. That they go to the game and there was no trouble. They're cheering for their teams, and it's just a great spectacle. The more they can do of it, the better.
Just one more generic rugby question, if you don't mind, please. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk on World Club Challenge. Your Penrith born and bred. How much would you like to see them go up against Wigan again and get that title, which has eluded them obviously 4 times, not won it, have they? So, how important is that for the Penrith club?
Yeah, I think they'd be smarting. I think they've had 2 chances. They lost to Wigan and they lost to St Helens. So they've been so dominant over there. The only thing that's eluded them has been that World Club Challenge. I think I read somewhere where if they took that game to Vegas, it would appease everybody. You'd have your English team over there, and there'd be a result at the end of both competitions. Whether they can make that happen, I'm not sure, but that sounded like a pretty good idea to have a real meaningful game. Although, but the game's over there for competition points, so that every side that went over there was going hard.